with me right now.
Hello. Welcome to today's Cuppa with Katie. I was just saying to Shelly, I've got my cuppa. Where's your cuppa, Shelly? Where's your cuppa?
Lost, but I do have one somewhere.
You do have one. Welcome, everybody. We're doing a slightly different Cuppa with Katie. Today's Cuppa with Katie and Shelly, which is nice. Shelly and I met recently because she's hosting an event, an online event. Is it 2 or 3 days, Shelly? I can't remember. 3, isn't it?
3 days, yep.
3-day event called Manoeuvring Menopause, and you're interviewing 30 odd
30 initial interviews and then 30 bonus interviews. So 60 total interviews. Yeah.
That's right. Okay. Amazing. And I was lucky enough to be invited to be interviewed, which is really kind. And we had a really cool conversation. In fact, what I might do as we're talking about it right now, I'm just going to chuck the link in to Shelly's summit right now, so I don't forget. Oh, there we go. It's a long link. It's a really long link, but that's fine. There it is. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, it's posted. Okay, ignore me. Hi, Sarah. Sarah's here. Happy Wednesday. Sarah, didn't we agree Wednesdays were going to be called something else? What was that? I remember we did a call recently, and not whatever goes Wednesday. What was it going to be? We were going to rename Wednesdays. Anyway, good to have you, Sarah. And anybody else here live, please say hello so I know who we're chatting to. And if you're on the replay, don't forget to type #replay, because I do actually keep an eye on who watches. Got my eyes on you. Oh, why not Wednesday? That's it. Yeah, why not Wednesday? So like anything goes on a Wednesday. Why not? It's a Wednesday. Yeah, I love that. Ruth's here. Hello, Ruth. Good to have you, darling. Emma is here. Happy Wednesday. Hope you're wearing something sparkly. Why not? It's Wednesday. That's the one. That's the one. And Tanya's here. Hello. Good to have you, gals. Yeah, so as Shelly and I were saying, Shelly's in the middle of launching her 3-day Manoeuvring Menopause Summit. And I am one of the experts being interviewed, and there's loads more people with way much more wisdom about menopause than I. Oh, no, truly. I honestly, when it comes to menopause, I'm so in it, I'm clueless. I'm actually almost 30 days into my experiment with HRT. So
how's that going?
Well, at first I was like, oh, nothing. Like I couldn't tell you anything. Now I feel like, I don't know. What do you know, Shelly? Does it get worse before it gets better? Because that's how it's feeling for me at the moment.
Well, in my experience, I had a really hard year before I even knew I was in perimenopause, and I just felt like the anxiety was insane. So by the time I was put on the mildest dose of HRT, I was pretty desperate to feel better. So by the time, I think I was on it for 2 weeks, and drastically changed my life in 2 weeks. I have not had anxiety since. I've not had a panic attack. And just my general mood was, I felt stable emotionally. I mean, it's like in 2 weeks, the minimal dose just made me feel so much better. So I know some people are a little different, but for me, it changed my life at that point. So.
Wow. Yeah. And this is it, isn't it? It's so different for everybody. And because I would say I'm consciously in year 5 of perimenopause. So, like you kind of, I was aware of it about 5 years ago. Like, holy shit, what is going on with my body? And I think I shared with you, Shelly, but just for the purposes of here, in case anyone's here and I haven't shared this, mine kicked in my first year of dating James. Yeah. So there I was. I'd been single for 8 years, waiting for my empowered man to arrive. He finally arrives. It's all very exciting and sexy, and like, the early stages of a relationship. And I'm having to go to bed wrapped in towels because my night's sweats were so horrendous. I had dreadful, like proper acne. Just awful. And anxiety, depression started to kick in. I felt like I was coming undone, and I thought, this guy's not going to stick around for this. This is horrible. But I actually, when I realized what it was, I've been managing it naturally And all of those ways, I mean, I stopped having night sweats, the anxiety went, the skin cleared up. Managing it naturally really, really helped me. But there's a few, to be honest, I think I'm on HRT more for long-term. Well, I'm trialing it. I'm trialing HRT more for sort of long-term benefits.
Yeah.
It's kind of a whole other conversation, and I can't even really speak to it yet because I'm so like experimental with it right now. But yeah.
Well, you'll have to see how you do with it. Some people I've read where people take a little bit longer, about 4 to 6 weeks on it. I just think I was so, I don't know what the word is, heightened at that point that anything would have made me feel better because I was just out of I was out of control and just in a lot of ways, physically, emotionally. I just felt like a lost soul out there.
Yeah. It does feel like that, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And it does, because we're not expecting it, because most of us haven't been educated to expect it before 50,
And nobody really, I didn't know it was coming. When she told me that, I was almost offended. I was like, what? I'm 43. You were healthy. Why would I be in, to me, it was meant when she said perimenopause, I was automatically like over 50. And then I went and proceeded to tell my mom, like, you didn't tell me anything about this, that this was going to happen to me. She's like, well, we didn't know it back then either. We were just told we were crazy and moody and lucky if you stayed married through it. So.
Right. Exactly. No, totally. Ruth saying something, I got worse before better, and the same with each dose increase. Interesting. Yeah, so I'm on the minimal at the moment. Yeah. But look, before we dive into all things menopause, I would just like to introduce you all formally and properly to Shelly Burns. Shelly, where are you again? You're in Canada somewhere.
No, North Carolina.
North Carolina, that's right.
Yeah.
Why did I think I heard a Canadian accent? Have I got that wrong?
I'm from Ohio, which is pretty close up there, but not that I know of.
No. Okay, so Shelly is a chiropractor, a gym owner. I think I can hear the gym in the background a little bit there.
Yeah, you're over there.
Yeah, you're in the gym. Yeah, a life coach and the creator of the FIT Menopause BluePrint, which I'm quite keen to know more about, actually. She works with women who are 40 to 60 who want to maneuver the perimenopause and menopause obstacles using fitness, nutrition, mindset, and self-care. So you've been a chiropractor and gym owner for 20 years?
20 years, yeah.
So you've seen a lot, right?
Yeah, I went right from high school to undergrad. Here, undergrad, I'm not sure what the levels are, where you guys are. And I played college basketball, and then I chose to go into chiropractic school, but I went like back to back, high school, undergrad, grad school. So I graduated chiropractic school when I was 27. And a lot of people in my class were in their 40s and 50s because it was like their second profession. Yeah. So I graduated considered young in the chiropractic field, but so I've always been into health and fitness. When I was in chiropractic school, I was a personal trainer that helped pay for school. And then when I graduated, I was like, oh, I don't have to personal train anymore. But I kept getting referrals for people. They're like, you got to train with this girl. So I just went with them. Like, if somebody wants to send me clients. So I ended up opening a gym and a chiropractic office all in one. And it's kind of like what I have here now. And that was in LA. And now I have one here in the United States, in North Carolina. So.
Right. Okay.
But health and fitness has always been huge to me. There's never been like a point where I'm like, I don't need to work out. I've worked out hard for 40 years. I don't need to work out anymore. It's a lifestyle. And I feel like for me, it feels good to work out, stress and all that good stuff. So I just always do it and passionate about it.
Are you very fit?
Well, I mean, I started perimenopause, a year and a half ago, and I struggled. I feel like I'm still kind of struggling with a little bit of the weight gain. Yeah. And it's because like right before COVID, that year before, I competed in London at an OCR World Championship. I competed in the Spartan World Championship in Tahoe. I mean, I was like at the top of my game, like endurance wise and these obstacle course races. I was competing in that age group, 40 to 44. And so, yeah, I do think I was pretty fit. I could run forever. And then this all kind of happened, and I gained that 20 pounds within 3 months. And coming from 4 knee surgeries, playing college basketball, I had a hard time running. My knee was killing me, but it also is because I added that 20 pounds. So I kind of had stopped running there for about 8 months to a year, and just focused on weight training and CrossFit. So, yeah.
And the weight training and CrossFit, did that bring your weight back down?
So this kind of gets into the whole creation of the FIT Menopause BluePrint, because I didn't know, like I was trying to do what I did before. I tried to just do CrossFit 5 days a week. I was still running. Sometimes I was doing 2-a-day workouts. I was not, don't do this. I was trying to stay under 1,300 calories while I did that. And I wasn't getting anywhere. I was so frustrated. I'm like, come on, when I was 30, I could work out for a week and lose 10 pounds. Well, it's not like that now. So because I was so frustrated, I changed my mindset in that, okay, I started researching and finding what works for women over 40. So I changed my exercise routine, which was CrossFit and running, to more of a HIIT, total body, just a pair of dumbbells, shorter burst of working out. So it wasn't so hard on the body, but I was still burning calories. So I switched to that kind of workout. I maybe did CrossFit twice a week, because I can't ever not do CrossFit since it's in the blood. And I changed my diet. So instead of 1,300 calories, just staying under that, I switched to macros and intermittent fasting. And then my mindset, I started taking care of my mindset as far as self-care. I started, getting massages or going to acupuncturist for also the symptoms of perimenopause, which acupuncture is great, and so is massage. And then just going for walks and not for exercise, which if somebody's like, go for a 30-minute walk a day, I would run it just to get it over with. So to walk and like listen to a podcast or just, mosey along out there is not in my nature. So it was a whole shift in how I approached my whole life, being fit over 40. So I would say I'm getting back there. I can run now without knee pain. So I had to build that knee strength back up. But no, it took about 10 weeks for me to lose all the weight that I gained. And that's what happened, is the ladies in the gym were like, what are you doing? I want to do what you're doing. And so I kind of put them through, and they're like, you need to take this to everybody. And now that I've had multiple beta groups go through, and I have clients like from the United States, like I have a Ohio and a California client. I mean, they're kind of spread all out through the United States. So I'm just trying to, what I'm passionate about, and help women, because you just got to look at things differently. You can't always do, and it doesn't take 2 days, and you don't have to go out and run endless miles. Like, it's not ever going to do that. So
yeah. Well, I really want to talk more about this, because there's a point in life where that doesn't benefit you anymore either, isn't it? Yeah.
It almost does the opposite of what you want it to. You're almost, so women over 40, like, it's real easy to stress your body out. I mean, it's like that in general, but for whatever reason, it was worse for me going over 40. And this may just be me, but my stress, it was so easy to get stressed. My anxiety would come over nothing. I could get down, depending on the weather. Like, I was real susceptible to changes in my environment. So with over 40, like, this cortisol, your cortisol gets really high, and then you're in this fight or flight, and you're not really going to get the results you want if you're trying to work out and you're already in that mindset. So that's why the self-care and mindset is important, because you got to bring that down in order for what you're doing to get results. So it is a whole system. Like, a lot of people think, I just need to eat right. It's going to take more than that. It's also going to take more than nutrition and weight loss. So a lot of people like to focus on one thing, but in this age group, it is really important to embrace what we're going through. It's kind of like you get a second chance at creating who you want to be. So like you were dating somebody, and you were just like, I mean, we talked about this too, you and I, about, I put my significant other, I mean, I'm lucky that I'm thankful that they're still with me, because it was hard. I couldn't explain what I was going through. I couldn't explain why I was feeling the way I was, why I was feeling the way I was. And they couldn't relate to me at all. They're just like, what, like, are you okay? And I'm just like, I don't even know. I don't even know what, And it's this lost confusion back and forth and if you can make it through that, it makes your relationship so much stronger in that you can communicate through, if you can communicate through that, you can communicate through so many other things that are going to come at you.
Oh my God. I mean, yeah, like for me, it's been such a lesson in vulnerability and in taking my ability to communicate really honestly how I feel, like whether it's around anxiety, whether it's around how I look, my body shape, my libido, my confidence in bed, like all of it has had to be talked about. Like, and it continues to be, and they are tough freaking conversations. It's like, I don't want to talk about that. It's so embarrassing. Or, I should just be this cool, young thing, and like who's able to do what she did when she's in her 20s, and I'm like, no, I am not her anymore. Like that girl left the building, and I'm getting to know who this new woman is, which is why this is why I wanted to talk to you, because obviously my real specialty is working with women in midlife who are single and dating. And I'm working with women in midlife who are in a relationship. This stuff is coming up. So how do they communicate vulnerably, and how do they navigate this shift in their own body while in relationship? And how do you do it while dating? I mean,
it's how we did it.
It's a lot, right?
Yeah.
And really, like, the body confidence per se wasn't a thing for me when I was dating. That's all kicked in while I've been in relationship. But I really do want to hear your top tips around this. Because, like, speaking for myself, it's like, how do we navigate? How do we wrap our heads around the fact our body shape seems to be changing rapid? Like, I'm going to speak for myself.
Yeah.
Body shape is changing rapidly. Here she is, queen of self-love.
Yeah.
Is looking in the mirror and going, no, thank you. No, I don't. No. So I've got this resistance thing. I'm not liking what I see, and I know I get what I have to do to fall back in love with me. But I would love your tips on this.
Yeah, well, it's funny you said from the self-love side, because for me, coming from the fitness side, I own a gym and I gained 20 pounds, and I'm like, mentally, I'm like, I own this gym. Like, I was thinking I'm just going to keep gaining weight because I didn't understand. I thought maybe I had a thyroid. This is before I knew it was perimenopause. But then it kind of settled down in that 20-pound range. But I was like, how much more weight am I going to gain? Like, I'm going to have to sell the gym. I feel silly being up there and trying to tell people how to be healthy when I don't even know how to help myself. So I get what you're saying about that. Yeah. You almost doubt then what you're doing. Or doubt that you're like, how am I going to help other people when I can't help myself? So I understand that 100%, but body image is huge in this phase because, and this is for most people, women I've talked to, so myself included, your weight starts shifting. And not only that, but you gain weight, but it starts shifting from like more of your hips into your ab, six-pack area, let's just call it that. And it's like this feeling that you've never had, like you're just like, what is this? So you start questioning how you look. You start to feel unattractive. For me, I didn't necessarily have a decrease in libido, but I just felt not attractive and like not sexy, which is hard for women if you've always felt that, which is like my background. Like I don't mean to sound arrogant, like I'm sexy, but like I never had a problem feeling about like taking your clothes off or being in a bathing suit. Like I've never had those issues. So it was hard for me to hear other women talk about themselves in that way. Like it's a negative state. So kind of what I've learned in all this and talking with women and with myself is that it really does matter, like what you're doing for your own self-care. I mean, and for me, it took like massage, acupuncture, and like these nature walks. But for some people, it could be going and getting your nails, women, it could be going and getting your nails done, or it's really important too to have a support system of other people going through that same thing. So because you can bounce ideas off and realize you're not in it alone. Like all women are going to go through this, right? Like you're not just the lucky one. Like everybody's going to go through this. So little things like that, like self-care, how you talk to yourself is really important. Like it's real easy to get in that, I've gained weight and I got to get in a bathing suit in 2 weeks, but there's something that you can talk positively about and that's going on in your life. I'm thankful I'm healthy. I'm thankful my kids are healthy, whatever it may be, my parents. Like there's something that's positive that you need to almost offset those negative thoughts, and you almost got to train your mindset. And ultimately it comes down to you, because the therapist can tell you over and over, but sometimes it takes just you being like, you know what, there are things I can be grateful for and positive about, and okay, I've gained 10 pounds, but it's not stuck on me. I can change that someday, right? Like, or I can take action to fix those things. So, yeah, it's a lot of how we talk to ourselves, I've realized. But the more, and that's why to me, exercise, nutrition, and like this mindset is so important. And it's really like, it's a lifestyle change. So you got to embrace exercise and not hate it. I mean, there's things you can do that are not torturous, where you're still exercising and enjoying it. And you realize you're doing it to be healthier. It increases your heart health. It decreases your chance of diabetes and bone loss, and it increases your muscle mass. So exercise is important, not only that, but it's a mood enhancer. So if you're feeling real negative, for me, sometimes I'll do a workout and I'll feel so good afterwards. I mean, and I still have that 5 pound of weight on me, right? So it's like, you got to shift things that make you feel good. So for me, it's exercise. Just eating healthy in general is going to make you feel better, because there's a lot of detrimental things that you can eat that really do, in their own way, chemically, don't help you in any way, right? So
what are the top 3 things we have to avoid eating or putting in our mouth?
Oh, I have a spot. Donuts? No, I'm just gonna.
No, we're allowed donuts.
I would say so. I hardly ever get asked what not to eat, but I try to make it whole foods, like meat, veggies, and fruit. Anything outside of that is, I mean, it's okay in moderation. Like in my nutrition part, I try to have women make it a lifestyle. So you don't want to deprive them of something they like. You just want them to have it in moderation, and not maybe. In my program, we always like, you'll see other people in my little Facebook group that are getting on the other people. They'll be like, I had a really bad weekend. It started on Friday, and they'll talk about how they had it just compounded into 3 days of eating whatever they wanted. And then on Monday, they're like, I'm back to where I started. So in our program, it's like, go enjoy a good meal. Or if it falls into a day or you're on a vacation or whatever, that's fine. But the next day you need to get in a workout of some kind, and you need to eat healthy, because then you can enjoy what you want to eat, but it's not going to set you back 5-10 pounds. You're just going to lose a day, and then you're going to get back on the horse, as we call it. So it's important to know that. And some people like to drink. It's okay to drink, just in moderation, right? Like we live in this brewery area here where there's breweries everywhere. And it's very common for people just to go and weekly or daily and just go grab a beer, or go do this and that. And it's a habit and a way for them to be social. So it's kind of change your mindset. What else can I do to be social without the alcohol, without that much alcohol? So again, with the nutrition part and not eating, like everybody knows what they shouldn't eat, right? I mean, I shouldn't eat this, but it's eating it within moderation, and not then beating yourself up if you did eat it, because that's the other side of it. If you're going to have a bad meal, don't beat yourself up about it. Be like, oh, that was a good meal. And then the next day, just focus on doing it the right way. So, I mean, a lot of women in my program are successful because it's just changing that mindset of, okay, I'm not starving myself. I'm getting plenty of nutrition. I'm feeling good finally. I'm sleeping better. Skin's improved, decrease in depression and anxiety, all from like exercise and nutrition. So if you can incorporate even something 3 times a week or whatever, like it does help those symptoms that a lot of women struggle with. And even though you might not lose weight, exercise does help you feel better, which in turn positively affects your mindset, and that you feel better. You may feel sexier. You know what I mean? Like there's offsets of exercise that it's just a lifestyle. Like anybody that's like, I don't exercise at all, I'm like, oh, like my brain just doesn't. I'm like, you have to exercise. It's for your health.
It's true. It's true. Something that came to me while you were speaking, I was sharing this with one of my coaching groups a couple of weeks ago. I was in Rome, week before last. And I was eating lots of pizza and pasta, and it's all very yummy. And my body doesn't do that great with gluten, but when in Rome, you got to. And I was walking down the street, and the wind sort of blew the dress I was wearing right against my tummy. And I looked down. I shouldn't have looked down, right? I looked down and I was like, oh, hello, tummy. And my instant reaction was huge self-judgment and criticism. And I was instantly so mean to myself in my head. Now, this was probably just like a couple of seconds of that, but it was so quick to go to judgment. And then it was really an interesting experience, because I noticed that it was my disempowered masculine gaze. So it was like this really toxic masculine energy in me that was looking at me going, that's not good enough. That's not how you should look. You're bad. You shouldn't have eaten all that pizza, blah, 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 blah. And then I tuned into my feminine energy, and I put my hand on my stomach, and I felt the curve of it and the softness of it. And I was like, actually, that feels really nice. Like, it felt really maternal and nurturing and just kind of yummy. And I was like, I felt really kind to myself by doing that. Like, it was just a difference. And I noticed that I could choose to look at myself with this sort of toxic masculine gaze, or I could choose to tap into my empowered feminine and be like, oh yeah, that's right. I'm a woman. I'm in a woman's body. I'm 47. I just ate pizza. I mean, I'm loving my life in Rome right now, and it's okay to have a belly. Like, it doesn't mean anything about me that I've got a belly right now.
Yeah.
And that just really helped me. Like, it just shifted me. It was like, it's a mindset thing, really, isn't it? It was just noticing, oh, I could choose to judge myself here right now. That's very easy. Or I could choose to love myself right now. And yeah, I don't know.
It's very easy to judge. Women are the worst. I mean, even before I started looking at women 40, 60, a little closer now that I'm in it. But women in my gym, doesn't matter what age, they all have something negative to say about themselves, it's really sad. There's some women in here that they're in good shape. Women are jealous of how they look, and they're like, oh, I feel fat. And I'm like, what? Like, you're like a specimen for women right now. But it's like, I don't think I've ever heard a woman, or not many, talk highly about themselves in general. I mean, it's a very negative connotation of women around their bodies.
Yeah.
And it is unfortunate, but like you said, like, you stopped yourself, and that's kind of like what I started doing, because I was hard on myself as far as the fitness and gaining weight. But I had to, just like I said, you got to start replacing those pretty quickly. Like, they're going to come up, but you need to, don't dwell on them. Don't beat yourself up too long. Like, recognize that it happened and you felt that, but then be like, you know what I'm going to do about it? I'm going to do this, this, and this, whatever that may be. I'm going to, say something positive in that moment. And then maybe set yourself up for a goal, something like, I'll feel better if I get in a walk this afternoon, or whatever it may be. I'm going to eat healthy today, whatever that could be for you. But it's really like just changing that, because as women, it's going to happen. It's in our culture. I mean, in every country, apparently, it's in our culture. So you have to recognize that it happened in that split second, and then don't let it dwell. Come up with something that change your focus on it. But just do your best to, and like I've read before, like, this is a different phase we almost are going into a new phase, and we can make of it what we want. So we can keep reliving our 20s and 30s, which we're not ever going to get back there. Or you can move into this new phase and be the best you can in this phase. Because I see women that are, like, I'm 44. I see women in their 40s and 50s, and I can tell they don't do anything for their health, right? And I always am appreciative of that. So sometimes I know that's probably not good, but I look and I say, you know what, I could be have zero health going on, or I don't care about my health. Mm-hmm. So it's like almost like I replace that with, I could be worse off, but I am healthy. I may have an extra couple pounds, but I'm a good person. All those good things you can replace inside your head.
I mean, I really like that, because I just remembered then you were talking about you can't be back in your 20s and 30s again. Like in my 20s, not many people know this, so I'm kind of outing myself, but I used to do swimsuit modeling, which still, it makes me cringe. But I did, and I paid well. And I used to judge myself then. I was freaking paid for the type of body shape that I had. And I was so critical of myself. So knowing that about myself, it's like, okay, so that's what I do. That's what a lot of women do. I criticize myself. Okay. So when I look at myself in the mirror and judge my new midlife belly, okay, so I'm going to do that. And it's kind of hard to stop doing that. But the only way that will soften is to focus on what else is going on for you, what else is true, you know, what else you've got, like you said, gratitude, and then refocus. Like, okay, so I'm going to be critical of myself, look in the mirror. So I can stand here and look in the mirror and criticize myself, or be in this resistance energy of trying not to look at myself as much as possible. Or I could choose something to do with my time right now. I could choose to go for a walk, or go to the gym, or go meditate, or go get my nails done, or whatever. Like, I could just choose different.
Yeah.
So it's not like trying to make that person disappear. I've criticized myself since I was 4 years old about my belly, actually, is my story. Literally since I was 4, I made my mum take me to the doctor when I was 4. Because I had one of those, you know, a lot of kids have that kind of like belly look thing.
Yeah.
I look at pictures of me now and I'm like, what a gorgeous little thing with her pot belly. But when I was freaking 4 years old, I thought there was something wrong with me. So this is deep in my conditioning. And so I just have to kind of work with that part of me, love that part of me that judges.
Yeah.
And then focus on, well, how can I support myself today? How can I love myself today? How can I think differently today? Yeah.
Yeah. It's all how you look at yourself.
Yeah. So I want to know something real quick. Because you mentioned the importance of reducing stress and cortisol.
Mm-hmm.
Because that can have a really big impact on the benefit of doing exercise, for example, and the benefit of good nutrition. Like this. So could you just speak a little bit to that? I think that's really important.
Yeah, I can, but I need to plug my computer in real quick.
That's good. You do that. I'm going to look at the comments. Sarah's sharing that she's in leopard print today. That's awesome. I can hear like gym equipment going on in the background there. Kellyanne's here. Hello, darling. Good to have you. Anybody relating or resonating with what we're talking about here? Am I the only one that judges herself? I'm pretty sure I'm not. Who else here does? Girls, out yourselves. And Shelly's back. Plugged in.
Dang it.
Oh, good. Oh, Athena's here too. Hi, Athena. Good to have you, darling. Hello. Yeah, so why is stress and then the increase in cortisol, why is that, sorry, Emma's saying all the time, and Stephen, Christopher, who's that? Both, yes. Judge yourself? Okay, but I'm pretty sure you're not in menopause though, Stephen, right? Unless you're using someone else's account. I don't know. What goes on with the increase in cortisol, and why do we need to keep that in mind?
So without getting like too on the biology and scientific side, so when I was having anxiety and stress and it was heightened, what happens in your brain is that there's this thing called the amygdala where it's your fight or flight response, right? So typically our cortisol in the morning should be higher. It should be the highest in the morning. And as the day goes on, it slowly decreases to where at night it's at its lowest, right? We're in recovery mode. And then in the morning, so it should be like this downward decline of cortisol throughout the day. The problem is when we stress, it spikes it. When we don't get good sleep, it spikes it. So we end up, or I personally, and most women end up spending it in this heightened state throughout the day. There's not much change in it. It'll vary a little bit, but if you can't get your the anxiety down and stress down on your own. That's why I think people end up getting on anxiety and antidepressants, because you can't live in that state. Like there's no way to live in that state. For me, I was so heightened, which is why she's like, we need HRT right away. Like we got to change your, we got to change what's going on inside you quickly, because you're already stressed out. You're already at the end of your rope. So what I learned with cortisol and the amygdala and all that stuff is that you have to, there's a way to balance it out. And there, you can do it naturally without the meds. So with exercise, you're exhausting those receptors, right? So like when cortisol gets high and you work out, like it's going to help bring it down a little bit. You also want to exercise. It also helps you get better sleep, right? So if you're getting better sleep, then your cortisol is going to be more leveled out. So it inadvertently affects other things. So you just don't want to live in that fight or flight, because then you're exhausted. Like no matter what you do or put in your mouth or what exercise you're doing, you're not going to get any results, because you're burnt out. Like your body's being used for other things other than what you're trying to get it to be used for. So that's kind of like my experience with cortisol. So cortisol you can decrease, like I said, with exercise, eating healthy, which then in turn, like I said, increases your sleep, decreases anxiety and all that good stuff. But so like massage, like you can get a massage, which helps decrease stress. If you're one of those people that cannot ever relax like me, and somebody tells you to do yoga, you're like, I don't want to do yoga. Like I'm going to lay there and I'm going to think about everything that I should be doing. Now, yoga is great, but I require a certain kind of yoga. Like I get my workouts in, so I need a yoga that's going to be restorative type yoga. Like you're going to lay there, you're going to force yourself into this, but I don't want to go.
You don't force yourself, Shelly.
Well, it starts there. It starts when somebody says, go to yoga. And I'm like, oh, like I fought it, but it was so good. I even started paying for one-on-one sessions, because there was only certain times. And I was like, well, this is good for me. I'm going to start doing it. Not only that, but there's the mindfulness stuff you can do as far as breathing techniques and meditation. And there's different ones. So everybody likes different things with that. But so all that stuff can help decrease cortisol that you can do on your own. Even just like a walk, they say 30 minutes a day can help decrease your cortisol. So if you really want results, you also have to get in control of your mindset. I mean, which then helps the cortisol. So, I mean, our body is a system and everything is connected, which is why I love the human body. Everything is connected. So you can't just do one thing. You got to look at the whole system that we're made of, right? So cortisol, like for me, massage is like one of the biggest things, because it forces me to lay down, and then I like being worked on, because I'm always working on everybody else. So it does that. I unfortunately had a bad experience in therapy, because somebody's like, before I was perimenopause, they're like, maybe you're really stressed. Maybe you just need a therapist. The problem is, and this is why it's okay to leave somebody and break up with your therapist, because he was saying things to me like, maybe you should just accept where you're at in life and that you gained this 20 pounds. Because at this point we didn't know perimenopause. He just thought I was having a midlife crisis, I think. He's like, maybe just accept where you're at. Like maybe just accept this 20-pound weight gain and just go into it and start working on some other stuff. And I was like, no, like I just can't accept that. Like I put it on for a reason. Like why? Number one, why? And number two, how can I get rid of it? And he's like, just accept it. And I was like, okay,
we're not the right fit.
Not the right fit. And then he's like, well, maybe you just can't run anymore. Like I'm a huge runner. And he's like, maybe you just can't run anymore. You got that bad knee. Like just accept you can't run anymore. And I was like I can't accept that. Like I feel I can still do it. There's just something off right now. So yeah, so therapists help some people. That was just the wrong one for me. Clearly he was just like a guy that was just like, just I'm like, oh no, I can't do it.
Yeah. And I had a client yesterday who had a meeting with her boss, who's a man, and what did he say to her? Something really, she really bravely opened up to him that she thought she was in perimenopause, and she still hasn't fully been able to embrace that for herself. And she shared it with him, and he said something like, oh, I'm really disappointed to hear that, or something like it was a critique on her ability to do her job, and it was very not understanding. I can't believe that's still going But what's interesting to me when you're sharing is, and I really, this actually helps me a lot, is this idea. I didn't know that our cortisol is at its highest when we wake up, and that it can reduce down during the day. Like, I didn't know that, because I do quite often, I don't wake up going, oh, I'm so relaxed. I quite often wake up and go, whew, right, okay. Like, I'm sort of on alert kind of. And I have to, if I don't start my day with a good dog walk, good long dog walk, before I got the dog, I would just walk on my own. But around here where I live, people think you're weird if you walk without a dog. They're like, what? You're in the woods on your own? Why? What are you doing here, you weirdo? I actually had one person say to me once, where's your dog? It's like, I don't have one. And they're like, weirdo. Okay, a good dog walk in the woods. And if not that, this morning James worked from home today, so he walked the dog, and so I meditated and journaled. And if I don't start my day like grounding in and into my body and like, yeah, like I'm on high alert, and that is not a way to go through my day. By no way.
Yeah, some people's is higher at night than in the morning, and that's what they're saying. Like, it's going to be hard to go to bed if you haven't naturally brought with the circadian rhythm, right? Like, there's a rhythm to our bodies and our sleep patterns. So like, if you're off, it's going to throw off your sleep.
Okay.
That's what I mean. It's like all connected. So, but like you said, just going out for that walk, or for some people, I come up with a morning routine for each of my clients, because everybody's different. Like, I get up at 4, so I don't really have time to sit down and drink coffee for an hour and eat breakfast. Like, I go to the gym, right? Like, I usually coach the 6 a.m. here, but I have a new coach who's kind of taking those over. But I'm an early riser, and I go to bed. I don't like to say this, but like 8:30, 9:30, I'm in bed. But I'm getting such good sleep now, whereas before I wasn't. So I love sleep now. Like, before I'd be like, oh, I don't even want to go to bed. I'm just going to lay there. I'm going to sweat all night, whatever. But now it's like, I love going to sleep. I'm like, ooh, get to bed early. But it's because I'm sleeping good now, and I wasn't. So when all that starts changing, it starts helping everything together. So it's kind of, like I said, tying everything together, which is why I don't just do fitness or nutrition. It's kind of like a whole system. But I feel like anything you do that sets some sort of routine in the morning will help those levels, because you're going into each day with a plan, and it doesn't have to be anything dramatic. Like you said, journaling, and I just don't have time for that. So for me, like, I get up, I let my dogs out, and then I have like what I do in the morning. I sit down on my computer, I review what I'm doing, and that's just kind of what I do. And I also have one before bed, but that helps center you a little bit. And for some people too, just putting down, like, I'm going to get in 30 minutes of some form of exercise today. It helps you do it. And you just got to know, like, you might not like it while you're doing it, but you'll feel better after. You'll be like, I did that. Yes. And each day you build on that little, I always say, look for the smallest win. So if you're struggling to even have one win, or you're not active at all and you want to start, or maybe you have no idea what you're doing, I'm always like, just start with one little thing. Like, I'm going to go for one 20-minute walk this week. Right. And then you're like, I did that. And then you can be like, all right, I'm going to do that 2 times next week. And you just build on these little things, because it is also retraining your brain to enjoy being active. Because if you've not ever been active, it's going to be a struggle. Your body's going to hate you for a while. It's going to be like, I do not want to do this.
It's so true. And can I pick up on one other thing as well? Just staying in this theme of cortisol, stress, and so on. I don't really know how to speak to it. I've heard I think you'll be able to. I've heard something about, if our exercise can put our body into a state of stress, right? And there's an element of, we need to, like, if you're building muscle, you're actually stressing out the muscle to create muscle, yada yada.
Yeah.
But because I know in my own experience, like, I used to be a runner, until running actually would make me sick. Running lowered my immune system. I would always get a cold. I was constantly having colds, and I was like, oh, I'm just going to keep fit, keep running. Then I realized there's this correlation between running and colds, and running and putting on weight. I don't run. I haven't run for a long time.
I know what you're saying, because I missed the point. So that's why I had to change what workouts I was doing. With CrossFit, you are stressing the body out each workout. Like, you give your all, you fall down on the mat when you're done, and you're exhausted. You've exhausted everything, your muscles, your breathing's taxed. You've left it out there. And that's every workout. That's not just like, I'm going to do a hard workout today. It's like every workout, which is why I initially loved CrossFit, is because I couldn't get that anywhere, not with a trainer, but in that class setting, doing variety workouts. I loved it. So that's what I had to do. I was stressing my body out where I wasn't getting results. So that's why the workouts that I do now, or incorporate, are like more of a total body, dumbbells. And I don't go above 15, 20 pounds. And most of my women are 8 to 10 pounds. And it's how I've created the workout programs. They're different to where you don't get taxed. Like, you're not working out for an hour. It's like different sections, 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes. And then your recovery is faster. So that's one of the things too. Like, lots of women, I'm working out twice a day. I'm not getting any results. I'm like, you're overdoing it. Which is what you're saying. You increase the stress, which increases the cortisol on the body. And not only that, but you're wearing your body out at other levels too. Your endorphins are supposed to increase after exercise, but a lot of times if you're exhausted, you're actually going to pull all that and have zero energy after you work out. So it is important to make sure you are not overdoing it. And I mean that in that you should be able to get in a workout and not have to take a nap after. I mean, I have a lot of people like, I had to go to sleep after that workout. And I'm like, okay, though, that's a little much. So when you're younger, you can do that. When you're over 40, you do have to change how you work out. Now, there are lots of women I've met that are CrossFitters and that's all they do, and they look amazing. But that's how their body is responding. That's not for everybody.
Right. And I think that's a really important piece, isn't it? We've all got to find our thing.
Yeah, everybody's different. And some people do really well. And you do, I don't want to say don't lift weights, because like CrossFit's good, you lift weights, or if you have a trainer that lifts weights. We also need to lift weights for our bone health and our muscle mass, which decreases as we go 40. Our muscle mass and our bone density starts decreasing. So you want to try to keep that as long as you can. You want to try to offset those changes that are going to happen if you're not doing anything for the long run down the road, when like, you don't want to be in a walker or in a wheelchair. Like, you want to be moving. I see people that are like 90 and they're kicking it. And I'm like, I want to be like that. So it's important to just constantly keep what you have and try not to fight that decrease that's going to happen just because we are getting older. But yeah, the workouts, you do have to lift weights. I mean, you can't just do cardio anymore. That's
does your own body weight count?
It does, but when you put more resistance on, you get more results. And your metabolism increases longer with weight training than it does with cardio. So I do have some women that are cardio people. They go and get on that elliptical every day at the gym. But eventually your body's going to get bored with that. Just like with anything, your body's going to get bored where you need to switch it up. So that's why too, I'm real big on, we don't ever do the same workout in the FIT Menopause BluePrint. It's a different workout every day. Because our bodies get bored. If you go to the gym and you're like, I have chest, this is old school for me now, but like chest and triceps on Mondays, and I got back and buys on Wednesdays, and I got legs. Like, that's the old way of working out. It really is. I just work total body every time you work out. Like, you don't just focus on just your biceps. I mean, that's like, and there's people that still do that, but it's like for women also too, I don't think that's going to do as well as if you work total body, just different exercises and different workouts every time you work out, because your body's not going to, it's going to not get stagnant. So you just got to always bring the life to your workouts.
I was laughing when you were talking then, because it reminded me of my days back in my 20s when I was quite the little gym bunny with all the boys with their big muscles, and you'd be like, hey, how you doing? What are you up to today? Like, I'm doing legs today. It's all about the legs. I was like, yeah, it's arms. And then there'd be the guys that just did arms, and it's like, dude, you need to do your legs as well, looking a bit out of balance there.
It's true though. It's true.
Yeah.
But if you work total body, you're going to get more of a calorie burn too. Like, if you have everything, you've kind of worked everything, you're going to get more of a calorie burn and more of an increase in metabolism after you work out. Because that effect comes after you work out, not necessarily during. So it's like, and when you lift weights, the metabolic burn is going to last longer into your day, other than, just while you're working out or right after. So yeah, the workouts are constantly just try to adapt what you're doing. You just don't want to get stuck doing the same thing. I run 3 miles a day on the same course and the same incline. Like, your body's going to be like, I'm done working with this.
Totally. Oh my God, totally. All right, my love. So we've talked about a lot. And I think I have a sense you're going to hate what I'm about to ask you, but I'm going to ask it anyway. For the woman, the midlife woman that's watching this, that's single and wants to date or is dating and has lost her body confidence.
Mhm.
Actually, the woman in relationship is midlife and lost her body confidence. What's your top 3 tips? What are the top 3 things that are going to be game changing for her to begin to feel more confident in this new body?
Well, and I'm sure you're a big proponent of this, and I don't even know if you are, but you have to like yourself before you're ever going to be in a good relationship or a caring one with this giving and receiving. Like, you have to like yourself. Somebody else can't like you enough for you, right? So it's important that you feel. I'm in the process of writing something, but there is the word badass in it. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on your thing. But
is that swearing? That's not swear. That doesn't count as swearing.
You never know with people. So you do in your own way. And when I say that, everyone's like, I'm not a badass. But you can in your own way feel like one. Like, so number one, I would say you need to start taking care of your body. And that's physically. Because when you start taking care of your body physically, even if it's the minimum, 3 days a week, doing whatever it is you want to do, you will start to feel better and you will start developing this confidence. Like, man, if I can do these workouts, like, and it's unconscious. You're not really going to pick that out. It's going to be like, I just feel better. And there's a reason, like, you're increasing, like I said, your endorphins and everything. So that's number one. Number two, and I know it's like, but nutrition is huge. Like, what you feed your body fuels your body. And it helps in so many ways that, again, we don't even realize it's. So what you feed yourself is important. And don't starve yourself. And number three, as far as finding yourself and being happy with yourself, I really do think a community is the best way to do that, because other women, you won't feel so alone. You'll realize there's other woman in our age group basically feels the same, unless they're very lucky genetically or they're not affected by perimenopause at all. And they're still just, going. And there are those women, they don't have any effects of perimenopause, but majority, I feel like, do have something. So, you just ultimately have to take care of your mindset. Yeah. I mean, you have to start talking to yourself in a more positive way. And even if it's just, and it's hard at first, you just will pick up, and you might be somebody that says something 50 times in your head throughout the day that's negative. But if you can get it down to 30, because now you're conscious of it and you're going to pick up on it, you're going to replace it with something that's positive. Ultimately, if you keep working on that, it will, it's not going to be like one day that's going to change. Like, that's going to be something that changes over time. And that's just, you gotta be thankful for that you are where you are. Like, I see so many people without, like, appendages, and, they're the most positive people. And so I always think of that too. I'm like, there's got to be somebody in your life that inspires you. And for me, it's seeing people that are the most positive people, and they have everything against them in life. Everything. I mean, I can't think of his last name, but Nick, he's got like one arm, no legs, and he was born that way, and no arm on the other side. And he's the most positive person I've ever met, the most positive person. So it helps if you find someone like that, you follow them on Instagram or Facebook, and you will see, and sometimes too, that helps you be more thankful for where you're at. Like, it's not so bad where you're at, right? I mean, we can beat ourselves up, but find those little wins. And two, like you said, journaling. Some people, like, at the end of the day, like to go through and be like, okay, this is what mentally, like, this is what I did or what I realized. And you have to build on all those little things.
Yeah, totally.
Four.
I was about to say, I knew you could stick to 3.
Yeah, because it's like everything involved. Yeah.
So much. You honestly, because I've interviewed a lot of experts around menopause over the last few years, and I'm constantly going, yeah, I really need to up my game with my, my workouts. I do a lot of yoga, actually probably not quite enough as it happens. But yeah, I know that a bit of weightlifting, I used to do it and it was so good. I felt indestructible when I did weightlifting. I was like, I can conquer anything when I'm feeling strong in my body.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I see when women come in and they don't work out, and all of a sudden they're lifting. You see it within, as a coach in a CrossFit gym. This is because it's harder to see when I'm my FIT Menopause BluePrint's an online thing, so I can't quite see what they're doing during the workout. But in here, it's like you see somebody and you see them come into themselves. Like I have 50-year-old women that come in, they've never lifted, and they start lifting, they start dropping that barbell, and they're like, and you see this look of confidence that overcomes them, and you're like, okay, there she is, she's here. But like everybody has to get that point, and sometimes it just takes a little bit. But that's why exercise is so important. Like you really do, it really does make you feel better on so many levels in general. So I'm always like, just do something.
Yeah. Is there anybody else here watching, whether you're live or on the replay, type, because if you're on replay, I'm going to see it. Anyone else inspired to make a little bit more of an effort on the exercise front? Because I really am, Shelly. Thank you. Like your energy and passion and enthusiasm around it is so infectious.
I just little changes for everybody. So good. I'm happy.
I wish you did. Yeah. Emma's saying yes, absolutely. Yeah, I wish your gym was down the road. I would be there. I would so be there. Can you just come to England, please?
Hey, my races were in England, and now they're in Vermont.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, I could have all these people I interviewed, because you're one that's over there. And so
Yes.
30 of the speakers, I would say 8 to 10 of them are from the UK, and like maybe 1 or 2's from Australia. But I mean, there's 30 speakers, and that's the thing with the summit that you partook in, which you brought a whole different level with the relationship side, which I didn't have anybody that talked on that. So, but ladies, you're gonna HRT, all about hormones, non-HRT, fitness, nutrition, intermittent fasting, macros. We have mindset, self-care, and then we have a couple intimacy coaches, which if you want to see me squirm, the bonus sessions of a couple of these intimacy coaches really, I got real shy, and I didn't even know what to ask anymore at that point. So one of my speakers just took over the thing. It was kind of a show and tell, and yeah, caught me off guard completely, but it was fun. And so there's all sorts of things in the summit and then what you brought is completely different too. So it covers, like, if you don't have like one specific, there's going to be something in the summit that you're going to relate to that will help you. And so like that's my passion, my goal. So I did this summit, even though it's a lot of work, because there's so many professionals out there in different fields that can come together, and we can help even just get the word out or help women in whatever way. Because not one thing's going to work for everybody. I'm all like exercise, but some people that's not going to help them enough, where they are going to need HRT or some non-HRT. So it's all just being patient with the process. Like our bodies took 40 years to get here. It's going to take a hot minute to figure out now how are we going to live this new life that we're in.
So true. I love that you said all that, because it's a 3-day summit, but you don't have to do 3 full days. You can just pick what you want to watch and listen to and so on. So I put the link in again there for your summit, my love. So it's there for everybody. And just a reminder that my 5-day challenge is coming up as well. So my Meet Your Soulmate challenge is coming up on the 1st of November. So it's all happening. It's all happening.
And it's linked in there. I think that is linked in the summit too.
Yes, it will be. Oh yeah, cool. Okay, great. All right, my love, we need to round up, or else Instagram won't let me post this in there because it'll be too long.
All right. So it was nice chatting.
Really good to talk to you. Thank you for being so inspiring. I really am inspired. I'm like, I
want to hear about it. I want to hear about it.
Okay, I will. I will. All right, I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for what you're doing in the world too.
Yeah,
See you later, everyone. Bye. See you next Wednesday.